10 best looking Sega Genesis and Mega Drive games. That's the topic for this week's show, and it's probably the hardest video I've ever had to put together. My name's Mike, and this is the Retro Gamer Boy Show. We're never going to get away from it. No matter how much we talk about it, how much we love our gameplay in the games, graphics are a huge part of these awesome games that we love to play. And we're going to be looking at my top 10 best looking games on the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis. Now, before we jump into the video, if you like these kind of retro gaming videos, you like the Sega Genesis and Sega Mega Drive, then why not click all the relevant YouTube buttons around the screen. Now, the 10 games that we're going to be looking at all come from my private collection, and that's because I wanted to have experienced the game, to play it, so that I could give an opinion that was valid. So that might mean that you may not see some games that you consider great looking games on the Sega Mega Drive, but my collection is fairly big, over 400 games. But remember, these are just my 10 best looking games on the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive. Make sure you drop down into the comments below and let me know if there's any games that you disagree with, or if there's games that I should definitely have on this list. 10. Virtual Racing was powered by the Sega Virtual Processor. The SVP runs at 23 MHz and can calculate up to 6,500 polygons per second. The game was groundbreaking at the time and delivered a real 3D treat for Sega Genesis and Mega Drive owners. It gave Sega's 16-bit games a glimpse of the future, and if this game could only have come out a few years earlier and had more of a library added to it, then Sega's journey into the next generation of consoles could have been quite a different story. 9. Marco's Magic Football was a lovely drawn game with big sprites and even bigger backgrounds. The game had a really nice effect for the far distant objects and scenery, giving it an almost depth of field-like effect. The environments Marco runs through are beautifully realised, with everything just sitting perfectly in the world, and this is mostly down to the clever use of painted in shadows, making everything look like it just belongs. 8. Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles blew me away with its stunning sprite work. Sonic has always been a great looking series, but its third incarnation seemed to take it to a whole new level. Full screen effects, stunning colour palettes, great character and enemy design, beautiful backgrounds, and overall a visual treat from Sonic's first step to his last spin attack. 7. Flashback. Flashback is not just a great looking game, but one of my all-time favourites. The first thing that jumps out at you is the futuristic setting the team has created, and the juxtaposition of a high-tech escape scene to your character's jungle location start point. Flashback employed a technique called rotoscoping, where the footage of an actor was traced over to give the characters uncanny lifelike movements. This, married with some spectacularly drawn environments, 3D polygon-styled cutscenes, and a beautiful attention to the aesthetic of the world, makes Flashback one of the best-looking games on Sega's 16-bit console. 6. Demons of Asterberg, a game created in 2021, bears all the hallmarks of some of the greatest games the Mega Drive ever released. There's a saying used a lot in the games industry: we stand on the shoulders of giants, and Demons of Asterberg is a great example of this. The game has carved out a very unique art style for itself, but also borrows techniques from developers like Traveller's Tales, who helped pioneer visual effects on the console back in the 90s. The game has a cohesive and charming art style that reminds me of the Castlevania series, but uniquely makes it its own. 5. Rocket Knight Adventures. This game makes me want to cry. It's so stunning to look at. The pixel density, proportions, silhouettes, and the perspectives are so amazingly crafted. It's a game that other artists look at and wish they could have created something that looks that great. At a time where graphics ruled, Rocket Knight Adventures was its ruler. Part of the visual charm of this game was its use of colour palettes to create the effect of atmospheric fog, making objects look closer or further away from the character. It also had a charming steampunk setting that really resonated with players during the 90s. 4. What is there to say about Streets of Rage 2? The definitive console-only beat-em-up. Streets of Rage 2 was not only defined by its great music and stunning combat design, but also, more than anything I think, its art design. The sequel to the excellent Streets of Rage saw its biggest improvements with a new, more chunky, colourful, detailed and beautifully created world. Character sprites had real weight to them, environments felt closer to the camera, making everything more detailed, and level themes seemed to take you to a completely different world each time whilst keeping the narrative consistent. The game excelled everywhere, but its graphics are what helped this game be truly special.
3.
Without doubt, cartoon games look great on 16-bit consoles. The large array of colours, bigger sprites, and more diverse art techniques over its 8-bit brethren really shined when paired with cartoon games. Earthworm Jim was not only a pioneer in this genre with its unique theme and quirky characters, but also showed developers and gamers what was possible. Earthworm Jim's visuals are charming, exciting, and gorgeous to look at. The art made every pixel count, creating some truly spectacular levels and a world that you just wanted more of. I wasn't lying when I said making this show was really difficult for me. Narrowing down this awesome collection of games that looked great to just 10 was difficult. Now we're into the final 2 games, and this was painful.
2.
Comix Zone, quite simply put, is one of the most unique art treatments I have ever seen in a game, and at the time when it came out, the most unique. The game borrows heavily from the medium it mimics, comics. Uniquely, the artists use the mechanics of the comic book to craft their levels with individual comic frames forming the stages of the level. The artists then have your character break the fourth wall by moving between these different frames, whether it's jumping across them or bursting through the bottom of them. But it's not just the visual mechanics of the frames that make this game so visually great, it's the artwork execution. Every frame is uniquely and beautifully drawn, with each frame telling its own story. Characters are nice and big and have some of the weightiest animation I've seen in a 16-bit game. And with this comic book theme, the artists really flex their creative muscle, being able to transport you from one environment to a completely different one as you traverse the world. A great example of how well the artists understood the universe they had created is when our villain's hand comes in over the page and sketches in a new enemy for you to fight. It's just genius! Comix Zone is a Sega Mega Drive and Genesis exclusive, and as such, it's a jewel in its crown.
1.
The Secret of Thor, or Beyond Oasis on the Genesis, is in my opinion at this moment in time the best looking game on the console. I won't lie, I was a little envious of some of the Super Nintendo games my friends had, despite me owning an SNES myself. I never really went in as big as I did with my Mega Drive. I would always be wowed by the sprites and the colours. It felt at times that the Mega Drive was just not capable of creating vibrant worlds that Nintendo's 16-bit console had. But then I saw Thor. Wow, this game was vibrant. It had huge sprites. The visuals of the world just pulled me in. It has a full cutscene intro that felt like a cartoon, and the game itself felt and looked like I was playing a Studio Ghibli movie. The game's visual design was beautifully realised and had some of the best drawn bosses in any game that I played on the system. Whenever I played the story of Thor, I have a smile on my face, and I can't help but say to myself, just look at those graphics. So those are my 10 best looking games that I have in my collection at the moment. Are there any in there that you agree with? Are there games that you think I should add to the collection that look amazing that should make this top 10? If there are, make sure you drop down into the comments below and let me know. If you're new to the channel and you've enjoyed what you've seen today, why not consider subscribing? You can do this by clicking on a little button just below this video. We make brand new retro gaming shows every single Monday, and so that you never miss one, you can also click on a little bell also just below this video. If you can't wait until next Monday's show, don't worry, we've got a huge back catalogue of retro gaming videos for you to enjoy, 2 of which you can find over here.